Hi there. What sort of music do you listen to?
Are you famous?
Uh,
Because I want to be famous too. So I reckon since you're famous, I could be famous. And because my friends say I'm a good rapper. So how do I be famous, basically?
okay. All right.
Okay.
It's real easy. It's very, very simple.
Mm-hmm.
Just have to pick up your gaming control pad.
Yeah. Wait. Which control pad are we talking?
I don't know. Xbox, get a PlayStation. Yeah, PlayStation. X, triangle, circle 3 times. Yeah? You get that? Then hold start and select. Hold it.
Yeah.
Keep holding it
Yeah.
until I slap you in the face. Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the DIY Gang Guide. I'm Shao, and I'll be your guide on the path to independence in the music industry, I guess. The topic we're going to deal with today is one that I can give you from my own personal experience, so it's something I feel I can advise you on quite easily. It's how do I get live shows, and this is a really... How do I get live shows is the question, and I'm going to try and give this to you from my own point of view. When I first started taking my music career seriously, I think this was 2007 maybe. I had just moved to Oxford. I was there for university. I didn't know the city. Come from London. The only other place I'd lived in was China, so there was that. Oxford is not known for its rap scene. It's definitely got rock there, but it's not known for its rap or hip hop scene. Didn't really know what to do, but I knew I wanted to get out there. I wanted to perform. Here's what I did. They had a local music magazine called The Night Shift. It had listings for all of the gigs that were coming up in the month. I just picked up one issue, went through it. A lot of rock gigs, but I found a hip hop gig, the one hip hop gig in the whole city for that month. Firstly, I went down there, and I think that's really important. My personal opinion is when you can look a man in his face or a woman in their face, you can get a lot more done. So I went down to the event, had a chat with the promoter, explained I was new to the city, I wanted an opportunity to perform. He said, come down next week, put me on the open mic. Came down the next week, gave it a shot, and it went well. So I kept going back, because obviously that was the only place to perform anyway. But it was a really good opportunity to hone my skills. Eventually, the magazine that I'd been reading from, The Night Shift, actually came down on a random one to review the night and gave me a glowing review. As a result of that, other promoters started getting in contact. They were mainly rock promoters, so I was on the bill with rock acts. It was my job to perform my heart out just as well as any of the other bands there. Yes, there was some luck, but I was by that time fairly good at performing. So as a result of that review, being at that night, being in the right place at the right time, I started getting a few more gigs. Not all of them were paid. In fact, I don't think any of them were really paid at this stage. When you're on your way up and when you're building your name and your reputation, you do have to be willing to take free gigs. It's about the experience more than anything else and getting your name out there. By the end of the year, I was actually featured on the front cover of the magazine, which was amazing for me, So it's an example. The thing is, Oxford is a bit of an isolated example because it's so small. This isn't something you can do in London as easily. Having said that, there are a lot of opportunities in London. My advice to you would be, first of all, get out of your house. Go down to some of these events, go to the small events, especially if they have an open mic. Go to the event, find out who's running the event and speak to them. Have a chat with them, introduce yourself. It makes a world of difference, and it could be the difference between you getting a reply email and getting ignored when you ask, hey, can I perform? Sometimes the promoter might not be at the event, especially if it's a bigger event, but if it's a small sort of grassroots thing, there's a good chance that there's somebody for you there to talk to. So you need to be fairly selective because you don't want to be wasting your time here. You don't want to be going to every single event, finding out that it's a slam poetry event when you're a gangster rapper or whatever. Do a bit of research beforehand. That's when the internet can come in handy. An email beforehand can also help, but my advice would be to talk to somebody in person. Okay, here's another tip for you, and it's one I really wish someone had told me when I first started performing. If you haven't already, sign up with the PRS and the PPL. That's PRS, Performing Rights Society, and PPL, Phonographic Performance Limited. Sign up with those two. Now the reason being, you can get paid for performing, and it's free money. And you don't need to do anything other than perform some songs. You don't even need to be getting paid from the night. These venues have to pay a certain amount to these societies. That money is split up and divided between its members. So as long as you're performing regularly, you could be making some money for it, and you wouldn't even know if you're not signed up. So definitely sign up with those. You'll thank me later. In my opinion, live shows are crucial for building long-term fans. I've seen many artists perform. There are some phenomenal recording artists who cannot perform, and vice versa. You can't just give a person the same experience they would have if they've just bought your music on iTunes or on CD. They've come out specifically for an experience, so give them that experience. If you're not confident with performing live, my recommendation would be to go to a couple live shows. If your favourite artist is performing in an area that you can get to, go watch them. I went to the HMV Forum a couple years ago to see Method Man and Redman perform live. I've never seen a more energetic show. They put people half their age to shame. That really taught me about how much energy you really need to give the crowd, because you give the crowd that sort of energy, they'll give it back to you. I feel constantly like a student when it comes to watching a live show that I know I'm going to enjoy, because I'm there taking notes, I'm there trying to pick up some new tips for my own show, and I would really recommend you do the same. I think there's always something to learn, even if it's a load of don'ts, like don't stand at the back of the stage and look like you're afraid, don't hold the mic over here, don't cover the whole mic with your hand. There's so many things to learn. Mic control technique is a whole next thing that we can get into as well, but for now all I'm saying is you need to be confident, because that confidence shows through in your demeanor, in your body language. It's not just about the music, it's about how you present yourself to that audience. And if you give them a memorable experience, they will come back and they will bring more people. In terms of promoters, they're a special breed of people. I'll put that tactfully. Not all of them are easy to work with. You get some professional promoters, not all of them are. But ultimately, a promoter's job is to make money from a live show. So if they can book you for free, best believe they will do. If they can get away without paying you as much as you think you deserve, best believe they will do. It's business, it's understandable, it's not fair, it's not fun, but the way I look at it, you wouldn't block your toilet and call your plumber and say, yeah, I didn't really make enough money at work this month, mate, could you do it for free? It'd be good exposure. I let all my mates know that you did a really good job on blocking my toilet. Exposure is a word you'll hear a lot, and you personally need to decide whether the exposure is worth it. Like I said, when I first started, any show that came along, I took it, free. Even if it cost me to get there, I'd take it, because I needed that exposure and I wanted that exposure. Further down the line, I started being a bit more selective, and you need to decide when you're ready for that. You can't say no to every opportunity, because some opportunities are worth it, but certainly if I'm going to an event and the promoter's talking about it'll be good exposure and he hasn't done his job properly and there's 10 people in the room, no, it's not good exposure. Having said that, regardless of whether there's 1 or 100,000 people in the room, you give your best show, because it's not that one person's fault that they're the only person that came out, and certainly if you give a bad performance, they'll remember that. So you give them the best performance regardless of whoever's in that room. I promise you it will make the difference. But you need to gauge whether or not it is worth your time to an extent. You are a professional. I assume you want to be a professional, so you cannot just lease your services out for nothing, certainly when you get further in your career. When you're starting out, cool, do as many live shows, as many open mic nights as you can, not only for the exposure but for the experience. Have a cut-off point when you decide, okay, enough is enough, you're either going to pay me or we're going to come to some sort of arrangement or something. Maybe you come down for free for this event and they book you for a couple more, they might cover your travel costs or something like that. Be smart with it. Build up a relationship with the promoters, I think, is what I can say to you. The other thing with live shows, never pee off the sound man. Don't do that. Do not do that. Sound man will mess up your night. Now, getting people to shows, like I said earlier, a promoter's job is to make money. So if he's booked an act and that act has drawn in 50 people, you're going to get booked again. Now, the promoter doesn't specifically care if those 50 people are your friends and family, or if you've held a gun to their head and said, yo, come down to my show or I will shoot you. He doesn't care about that. He just cares about whether or not those tickets are coming through the door. And you will get booked very quickly if you are consistently and constantly bringing a lot of people down to your gigs. It's all well and good bringing friends and family to your gigs, but eventually that pool is going to run out. Their friends and family, they sort of know you, they're coming down to support you, but they're not going to come to every one of your gigs. At some point, you're going to have to build a fan base of people who don't specifically know you and actually are coming just because they want to listen to your music. But bringing friends and family to your early gigs is a good shout. It will definitely help you get more bookings. Think of ways to get other people down, and definitely do not waste your opportunity on stage. I see a lot of people come off stage, they perform their heart out, they do a good job, people enjoy it, They come off stage and that's that. You know, no after show service, as I call it. Have flyers. Go through the crowd. Do your grafting. Give someone something to take home with them so that after that show they can find you online. They can listen to some music. Maybe they can buy something. If you don't have a CD with you, if you've got some CDs with you, see if you can sell some. You know, mention on the stage that, yeah, I'm going to be selling CDs. You might make a bit extra on top. You know, it might end up being worth your while coming down to that free gig because you sold enough CDs to make it worth it. Definitely have a chat to some of the audience. I would also say mailing list as well. This is something I've recently been focusing on, and once again wish I'd been doing from the start, because even if you don't have a release, even if you don't have some music, you want to be able to keep in contact with people who've actually seen you perform already and know what you're about, as opposed to, as I said in the last episode, cold calling and trying to spam everybody and everything you think may be relevant. Mailing list providers I would suggest, there are two that I can think of off the top of my head, MailChimp and FanBridge. I'm personally with FanBridge. MailChimp is a good one to start out with because up to a certain point you can use it for free as long as you have under a certain amount of subscribers. It's a good starting point. I believe you can get the app on your phone and you can take that along with you to gigs, get people to write their email addresses on your phone, because believe me, I've done this. Getting people to write down their email address on a piece of paper is the most frustrating thing in the world. People trying to decipher, what is that, an at, is that, what does that say? It's horrible. So save yourself the heartache. If you've got a notepad on your phone, get them to write it down on there. If you've got the app, get them to write it down on there. Avoid getting people to write it down in their own handwriting, because you will get someone with some spider something scrawling all over your page. It will look horrible, trust me. In general, performing live is a fantastic experience. There's really nothing like it. I do a lot of what I do in order to just get people out to shows so that they can watch me perform and go wild, because I love it so much. And I hope you do too. It's not always going to go right. You're going to have good shows, you're going to have bad shows, you're going to have times when you do everything right and the crowd just doesn't respond to you. But don't let it faze you. If you've got a mate, get them to bring a camera down, a video camera down, film that performance, keep the camera on you specifically, especially if you're starting out, and watch it back a couple days later. See where you can improve. When I first started out, I realised I had my hand in my pocket for the entire performance because I was nervous. I didn't know this at the time. I didn't realise it was just a subconscious thing. But seeing that on camera, I realised I had to take my hand out of my pocket because it made me look nervous and the crowd could feel that. We can talk a lot more about performance techniques, how to perform, that sort of stuff. But once again, I want to keep this video short. So really, we're just talking about how you get live shows, and the best thing you can do your research in your specific city. Go online. You know, if we're talking London, there's going to be a lot of shows, so go down. Bring some demo discs. If you have any videos of you performing previously, make sure that they're available to show that promoter. But firstly, go down, connect, network, get email addresses, get contacts, be persistent. Don't be harassing. Send your email, send a tweet, send a text. Give it a day or two, follow up. Give it a reasonable amount of time, but make sure that person knows that you are not going anywhere until they take you seriously. You have to be persistent in music, you really do. A lot of people miss out on opportunities through just not following up enough. It may take a month to get that show or to get that person to take you seriously, but if you keep on, be polite, but be firm and persistent and professional, hopefully you will get what you want. The worst you will get is a no, but you could have got a yes, except you didn't continue and you didn't find out, so follow it to the end is what I'll say to you. So to conclude, if you're in a city which doesn't have a strong scene, look around for a listings mag or something like that, any sort of thing. I know most cities have that. Look online as well. If you have to travel, maybe you've got to travel. Maybe you might need to put on your own event, but we can talk about that at a later stage. If you're in London, start getting yourself down there, start talking to people, get out of your house. So yeah, that's it for now, people. I think, that's a lot of information. Once again, if you have any questions, drop it in the comment box down below. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to the videos, because that lets me know that you are enjoying what I am saying to you. So please, feedback, respond, let me know what you think. Let me know what questions you have as well, because it's very important to me. I may not be an expert, I may not have succeeded everything that I want to yet, but I certainly have some knowledge and some experience which I can share with you, and I would love to do that. So let me know what it is you want to know. That's all for now, peeps. DIY gang. Peace.